ladies and gentlemen, we are now live in two different places. We are live right now on YouTube, and we are live on Periscope or Twitter. It's actually Twitter. Let's call it what it is we are live on Twitter because I want to double the mess for everybody. And the double the mess fun, double the pleasure, double the fun, double mint gum. Welcome to Technically Speaking Live, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. and 10 a.m. on Thursdays. If you're in Queensland, Australia, welcome to the show, my friends. I have a live studio audience, which a lot of you are not going to be able to see. My eldest daughter has decided she also wants to see the mess that is the Stroke Factory, so we will see exactly what happens. And I got to be honest with you, Stats is sneezing in the background with COVID. He doesn't have COVID. Not a COVID carrier. Not a COVID carrier. Got a really interesting show today. I had to take this out to see if I could actually hear myself. Interesting show today. We're going to talk a lot about WWDC, which is the Worldwide Developers Conference from Apple. Going to talk a lot about iOS 14, and we're going to talk a little bit about this ongoing war and saga that is, hi, I'm an Android guy, and I had that stuff five years ago. Look, I'm an Android guy. We're going to talk about this ongoing war that everybody seems to have with telling everybody during any Apple keynote at all that, Android had that 5 years ago. So we're going to get down to kind of the bottom of that here a little bit. Going to talk about how Apple has just completely given up, realizing the fact that Siri sucks, and is going to allow you a very easy way to enable the Google Assistant, the far superior assistant, on any brand new iPhone that might have iOS 14. Also going to talk a lot about how Google's taking a very interesting stance as it comes to user data security and how you can take advantage of that. Also going to be talking about how I can yell at my kids directly in their room rather than the entire house hear me yell at them. Also going to be talking about a little bit of vlogging camera and how I think that you could just use your phone to vlog, but now there's manufacturers that are actually able to create specific cameras for vloggers when they should have been doing that about 5 years ago. I think that's pretty much the rundown of the show. At this point, you don't even need to watch. Bye. As always, I am joined by the illustrious, I'm the stats man. Beep, bop, 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 bop. Beep, bop, 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 bop. Beep, bop, 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 bop. Hey, and watch me whip, and watch me nay, and watch me whip, and watch me nay. Come on, Stats, nothing? I know, my daughter just told me, my daughter just goes, you're doing it wrong. Like, that's the point, baby. He's like, hey, ha, ha, hey. No, nothing? Somebody's going to screen cap that, and I'm going to have, like, the dumbest look on my face.
I mean, is that just really like this. Any different from any other screen cap ever?
Are you ready? Dumb look on my face. This is just a dumb face. Oh, that's it. It's like, and watch me, nay. That better? Okay. All right. Wow. What a mess. Hey, Stats, how are you?
I'm doing great, Scott. How are you today?
Some would say just peachy.
Oh,
how's your week been?
Pretty good. Fairly uneventful, which is the way we like it in the security world. So, what about you?
Just living it, living the dream, living the dream. Let's go.
Are you over or under 25 meetings already this week?
Ooh, that is a good question. And the sad thing is, it's like, that's probably a really good number to go with. Like, is it 25? Because it could very easily be 25. But we're 3 days deep, dog.
Yeah, you'd be averaging just over 8 meetings a day. I don't want to sidetrack the show. Just curious, because I do know that's one of your pet peeves is meetings that could be emails and emails that don't need to be sent, or some would even say emails that hang out in your inbox.
I don't do that. No. I don't do that. There's a friend of mine that does do that, and I'm going to make fun of him real quick. I don't think he's watching, so that's why I can make fun of him. You guys know, absolutely, there's a guy named Josh Smith. Love him to death. Good friend of mine. Does work for Gotta Be Mobile. I think he was the one. Now, Stats says this. If I'm going to throw Josh under the bus, I'm blaming Stats. Stats says he saw an actual tweet from Josh today that said he had like 529,000 emails on his little icon on his iPhone, and I cannot do that for two reasons. One, I can't have that many emails. That's unacceptable. I cannot have that. Two, I definitely cannot have that notification on. The little red bubble on an iPhone, that gives me like anxiety, like whoa anxiety. I don't do notifications like that. I don't do the red bubbles. That's not how I operate. That's why, and for all the great stuff that Apple did this week for the Worldwide Developers Conference, their notifications are still super far behind Android, in my personal opinion. Notification shade is where it's at. Apple's done a lot of great stuff. Notifications are not one of them. Hot trash. Okay, let's jump into the comments. Miss Sheila, thank you so much for coming by the show. Miss Kathleen Garrity, hello. Welcome back. Jim Lynch, third. Hey, Michael Pepper Tech Talk. What's going on? Tech Odysseys. Now, we'll talk about this comment. You're not my friend anymore. Adam is mad at me because last week was like the most epic battle royale in Tech King Mike's channel. Like, it was incredible. I had to go through 2 batteries on my camera. Absolutely love it. There was a lot of great creators. Andrew Edwards came by. Canoopsy came by. A ton of first-timers came through. It was like the most epic battle. A lot of information. I learned a ton of stuff, and I was a judge. It was super difficult. You watched the whole thing, and you actually came out and said it was a blast.
Yeah,
Just a blast.
I thought it was incredibly entertaining. I also learned a couple of things. I'm actually going to go back and rewatch some of the segments just to pick up on some of the information I missed during the exchanges. But yeah, that was a ton of fun, and they're setting up something special.
Yeah, I was going to say, and Gary says, great job on Saturday Night Tech Fight. It was great. It was hard. Judging is very difficult because, and then this comment came up from Adam was specifically around the idea of it was really difficult to pick because both sides made a really great argument. And we're talking about needles in a haystack, slim type of hair things when it comes to a winning argument. One of the things I would have loved to have been able to do was on some of those really close rounds, as a judge, I would love to tell them why I felt the way that I did. But to keep the pace going, we didn't do that. We, as a judge, just had to go, Adam or Canoopsy or Andrew or Mike or this, that, and the other. So that's something I would love to be able to go back to some of the creators and say, hey, this is why I was thinking the things that I thought when I picked whomever it might be. Miss Donna Walter, thank you for coming by. Kathleen says, all of this will be news to me because I have not been paying attention while you've been in Palm Springs. That's right, my friend. You've been on vacation, and I am very jealous. But I'll get you all up to speed. And thanks for coming by. Technically Speaking, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. for all your tech news. Yeah, that work?
Sounds great here.
Larry Lindeen says, because of my whip and nene, I am ready for my TikTok debut. I'm sure as soon as my daughter catches up to the lag in the video, she's going to be like, yeah, just peachy. Yep, there she goes. She looks right at me. What? Oh, okay. I'm just kidding. Archive all the emails. Let's talk about that. Yes. Archive all the emails. They do not belong in your inbox. That is why there is a search function in Gmail or any email service at all. Just archive them. Archive them, keyword search. That's it. That's all you have to be. Now, my daughter just caught up with the lag, and she says I am not allowed to be a TikTok star. Adam says he's dead to me. See, this is what happens. The man, the myth, the legend is here. Indeed. Saturday Night Tech Fights. We're just talking about how amazing it is. My friend, that is a lovely, lovely stuff. I got to do the archive emails. I can't do it. So I run a very tight ship when it comes to my work email and my home and personal emails. All of my emails, I bet you combined in the inbox. So keep in mind this. Now I archive everything. I archive or I file it away accordingly. And I don't mean actually like in the trash can. I mean file it away accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bet you I have no more than 10 in all my email box combined, including work. And
When I left work,
lots of emails.
Yeah. When I left work today, I had 8 sitting in my inbox. Now I get emails constantly 24/7. So there's about 20 in my work email box right now, but I also have about 20 just hanging out in my personal email box, but it never gets more than one screen length. I never have to hit the next arrow.
Yeah. I love how our arbitrary settings are the screen length. Like depending on the resolution of the screen, that could be like 15 emails or it could be like 4 emails, but it's never beyond that screen. I feel you.
I mean, I don't even like having to scroll to get down to the bottom of the emails. That's just, ugh.
Okay. We talked about notifications and we're going to talk about that probably here in a little bit because again, I can't, so Andy comes in. You are totally obsessed with your work inbox. It is an obsession because I feel, yes, I'm not going to get into that, but you are right. It is potentially an obsession. So, yes. Oh, my gosh, my friend, Adam, thank you so much. You have a great show, my friend. As soon as this one's over, I'm going to try to pop in as well. I appreciate you. Thank you. We're still friends, I guess. Hearts, hugs, and kisses. Have a great show, even if it's with Dan. iOS 14 has some dope stuff, but the first thing I want to talk about in iOS 14 is the fact that they're going to allow you to enable the Google Assistant with a simple double press on the back of your iPhone. Now, I don't know who discovered this first, but I found it through MKBHD. He says,
where I saw it.
Okay. So on the back of your iPhone, so I'm going to take my iPhone out real quick. On the back of my iPhone, it looks just like this. It looks just like your standard iPhone. So somewhere around this area of the phone, just above the Apple mark, or the Apple whatever, you can double tap. There is an accessibility setting that you can have. And in iOS or in OS 14, you can actually double tap right here and it will immediately enable the Google Assistant, which means you don't have to say, hey, well, not G, but S, so Siri, open the Google Assistant or basically ask for another assistant. Use your assistant to ask for another assistant to get you the answer that you're looking for. Now you'll be able to just double tap on the back and it will immediately open that app. Now, the cool thing is you can set it to open anything that you want, but a lot of tech heads like us, and I'm going to be no different, will set it to open the Google Assistant. And the reason is because it is by far the most superior assistant compared to all of them. I will take it and argue on any tech fight anywhere under the sun. The Google Assistant is by far the best. Now, Tech King Mike did ask which one was better, the Google Assistant or Alexa. And I think I may have actually voted for the person who said Alexa because of their argument. However,
my recall says that is a factual statement.
And see, that's the thing. That's the toughest thing about the tech fights is my opinion was it's the Google Assistant and it's not even close. And I'm very clearly making that apparent here. But that argument was really good. So I like to judge on the argument, not my opinion, which is exactly what you're supposed to do. But it is far and away the best assistant. The argument of the third-party integration with Alexa was really what got me because that is the truth. Alexa does have more third-party integration than Google, but it's no slouch. And all the big ones that's needed, Google has. That's just the way that it is. So the Google Assistant is smarter, it's faster, it's better, it's just that much more coherent. It's when I ask it a question, it gives me an answer. Whereas if I ask a very similar question, Siri's like, I don't know, I returned some web stuff. Here you go. And serves me with a web page that I don't want to watch or look at.
So I did not watch the entire WWDC. So did they give any type of explanation about why the double tap is going to go to the Google Assistant as opposed to their own assistant?
It can go to any app you want it to.
Okay.
Most people are going to program it to the Google Assistant. That's just the way that it is. And here's another reason why. Actions on Google. Kathleen's perfectly right. There's actions on Google. That's the integration into third-party stuff. Third-party app manufacturers are doing it. But there's other things that a lot of people don't necessarily understand with the Google Assistant, and why it is so much better is because now you can say, "Hey G," the big keyword, on a web page. You say, "Hey G, read it." It immediately fires up that web page into another window, and the Google Assistant reads you the article, skips all the ads, everything. That to me is a much better experience than, "Hey, I found some stuff on the web. Do you want that website? Siri, I don't care about that. I wanted the answer." Or I want you to actually be an assistant for the thing that I need. It's perfect for, I want to read an article, but maybe I want to listen in the car. So it's a 3 or 4 minute read, and it will tell you that when you open it up. I could effectively read an article while driving in the car like it's an audiobook. Another cool thing. I can speed up or slow down the article. There's so many more things that you can do with the Google Assistant that to me is a better experience than Alexa or Siri. And that's why it's the superior assistant. I rest my case. Give me my title. Give me the belt. Give me the belt. I need
to talk to tech.
I was gonna say I need a belt because I'm getting fatter by being inside. Anyway, this was supposed to be about iOS 14, and I very quickly made it a Google thing. I believe Google will turn on your camera if you're being pulled over in your car. Yes, you can ask it to open your camera. Kathleen kind of hinted at it. There's these things called Google routines. You can actually set up, and I have one set up on my phone that says, "Hey G, police time." It will actually, it sounds terrible. It will take a rear-facing camera picture, a front-facing camera picture, fire off my location to some contacts, and immediately start selfie video recording, all by those keywords. And I have that actually programmed to do that. True story. I was going to make a video about it, and then I saw like a whole bunch of other people doing it, and then I just kept it. But it works. So we talked about the double tap through OS 14. iPhone finally has an app drawer of sorts and widgets. So this is a thing that a lot of people have been talking about. I personally am more excited about the app drawer because I like to keep go with me on this because of my OCD around my inbox. I like to keep my home screens very clean. Shocking, I know. Everything has its place. It's all filed away. All my photos and videos in one. All my productivity apps in another. All my Googles in another. All my socials in another. So I like to keep everything nice, neat, and tidy. What? What's that word? Tidy?
Stroke Factory.
Stroke Factory. It's 1 point. I wish I had a ding. Ding. And the iPhone just gives me copious amounts of anxiety because it's like apps everywhere. All the apps. I don't know where the apps go. And I can't deal with that. So
the swipe up app drawer was and still is one of my favorite functions on the Pixel phones. Is just because the bottom half of my home screen is the apps that I use every day.
Yep.
The top half is completely clear, and then everything else is hidden away in the app drawer. I don't even have multiple screens that you can swipe side to side. I can only swipe left to right to get my Google Now feed. I don't even have a second home page.
Hold on.
So
let me actually check and see what the answer to this is for me. I have okay, so you swipe left from your home screen to get you the Google Assistant, all your feed, like your feed. What? Yeah. Why am I stroking out? That's 2. Swipe to the right, I have my calendar.
Okay.
And then swipe one more time. I didn't realize this. When you download the apps, it goes to a home screen. I have I have a dumping ground for this. We have a
So
go ahead.
that one's probably pretty cluttered.
Yeah, it's not great. I literally just put my phone down because I can't. Yeah, I can't.
Don't worry, folks. He'll have that cleaned up by tomorrow morning.
It won't even be tomorrow morning. It will not. It will not make it that long. I'm surprised that I don't take the time to do it right this second, to be completely honest. Can we ask my daughter if you're as tidy at home as you are with your software? Okay, so hang on. Hey, Gigi.
Yeah.
Okay, take your headphones off. I want you to stand right here.
Okay.
Okay? I'm gonna put the microphone on you.
Okay.
You stand right there.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna ask you a question, and I want you to answer it.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody can hear you. Talk just like that.
Okay.
All right. So you know how I keep my phones nice and clean.
Yeah.
The question is, am I as tidy and am I as clean at home? That's not in my phones. Like, is my clothes, the bed, the kitchen.
Closet.
Is my closet clean?
It's messy.
It's
You leave shoes everywhere and pants on the floor.
Okay, well, I love you. Thanks, kid. I appreciate that. So,
Out of the mouths of babes.
yep. Well, there you go. Wait. Oh, you got something else you want to say, huh? Okay.
I just texted Lexi. I said, "Should my dad do TikTok?" And she
Okay.
said,
No. Not doing TikTok. Yeah. We got a cousin. Oh, my God. A cousin says I should do TikTok. That goes back to Larry. So, there's your answer, Kathleen. Evidently, my closet is not nice, neat, and tidy. So that gets to widgets. So iOS 14 is now finally going to have the ability to have widgets. So I know Larry says I should have paid her. I know. and yes, Kathleen, there you go. The answer is yes. It is what it is. Kid cannot tell a lie. My closet is a disaster. Straight up, I'm going to admit it. It's a disaster. I go in and it's like, what? Just clothes everywhere. She's not wrong.
Image. Thank you.
You're welcome. Watch me live. Oh, and another thing that Apple actually got was picture-in-picture, and I have a hot take on picture-in-picture. I'm very happy for those folks that on iPhone that finally has the ability to have picture-in-picture. Android's had it for a long time, and I don't have a hot take in terms of, Android had it first, no, boo-boo. That doesn't bother me, and I'm going to talk about that here in a second, too. I hate picture-in-picture. I hate it. I never use it. Android's had it forever. I could enable it. I hate it. Anytime I had a chance to disable picture-in-picture, hate it. Hate it.
I've even with as large as some phones are getting, like the Note series and the 3XLs and the 4XLs, I just don't feel that there's enough screen real estate to need picture-in-picture. And honestly, the only time I even consider using it is if I'm watching a YouTube video with my phone held vertically, of course, not horizontally, because you know how we do.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to scroll through more videos to find other stuff. YouTube will automatically pull it out and make it sort of a picture-in-picture, but I can still search for other videos.
Yep.
And that's the only use case I can think of.
Like YouTube does it by default. I don't think much about it, but see, look at this. I love picture-in-picture. I'm watching you right now scrolling IG. See, I just don't enjoy picture-in-picture. Like, I just, for whatever reason, I think Tech King Mike's the same. We just don't like it. To me, the YouTube video is the only place. Like, I'm not going to watch a movie and scroll something else like Twitter. Like, because if I'm going to watch a movie, I want to watch the movie. That's just me. Like, I don't get excited about picture-in-picture. And there were so many people that were so excited about it. And I'll bet you, and I'll take this one too. This is a pretty aggressive take. I'll bet you 95% of the people who are like, I'm so excited about picture-in-picture on my iPhone. Fast forward 30 days from now, not using it. No chance. 95% of the people, I would bet they're like, yeah, I mean, it's cool, but I don't use it. I'll bet you that's what happens.
I mean, I guess the closest I ever come to picture in picture is I'm casting something from my little screen to my big screen television, and then I'm scrolling Instagram on my little screen. But, you know,
That's the magic for me of either AirPlay or Chromecast. That's it. That's literally it. Like if there's this big screen right here, I'll put it there if I want to watch it and do something else. That's just me.
how is that? How is that big screen working since we hung it on the wall?
It's fine. It has a weird hum, like, so I have to edit that out when I'm doing a video. But other than that, it's like I have the camera set up here. I can just glance over and go through the show notes, which is nice, which I agree with. Larry has a bone to pick with Android, evidently. He's never forgiven for the sin of the micro USB. It was a dark time in the beginning, my friend. It was a dark, stormy night. I don't know who still uses micro USB anymore, though. Cobra said, I'd prefer split screen. I actually agree with that. I would prefer split screen. I would find the split screen much more effective than picture in picture. Because what I find is when I'm on picture in picture, my fat fingers move the screen around, and I'm like, the thing that I need is below the picture, which is annoying. But anyway, I digress. Let me go back up to these show notes. The AirPod Pros also got a bit of a bump, and I am Team Pixel through and through. I also have the Pixel Buds, and to full disclosure, these things have been some sort of frustration for me in a way, but I freaking love them so much. The microphones are so crisp, they're so clear, the music sounds great. The case I just have to constantly have in my hand, and I love them. But I miss my AirPod Pros a lot. They were so stinking comfortable, and it's nice to see the updates that Apple's making with them. So the AirPod Pros got a bump that talked about some serious software updates that's coming this fall. They're going to roll out hot swapping or automatically switching your AirPod Pros to whatever the device you're listening. So if I'm on my iPhone and I switch to the MacBook, it will automatically recognize this and automatically connect to the MacBook or the iPad or something like another Apple device. That is great. However,
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that's going to work.
I also have the ability to do that between Pixel devices right now with this. So I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying I love that Apple's almost catering to some of the nerddom that we've kind of dunged dinged them for in the past. I think I saw a great tweet where somebody was like, just give the nerds what they want. It's 2020. Who cares? Honestly, that's great. They closed a lot of gaps that people gave them crap for, and I got to give them a lot of credit for it. That was a wonderful keynote. And this is coming from a Team Pixel guy. Like, I am Team Pixel through and through. But I got to give Apple a lot of credit, and this kind of goes to the thing that I wanted to talk about was, can we please get out of this Android versus iPhone thing? And I really kind of want to key in on the Google versus iPhone thing, which I think is a less of an issue than the Samsung Nights. Yeah, so hang on. I got to definitely address this one. The only Apple product that makes me consider the Apple life are the AirPods. They are that good. The AirPod Pros are that stinking good. So good. But back to this, the Samsung Nights are one of the ones that are the toughest in the Android community to kind of overcome, because Samsung can do no wrong in their eyes, and they're harsh. Now that's a lot of Android. There's a lot of like hate towards Apple in like the diehard Android community. I'm an Android guy. I'm specifically a Google version of Android guy, which is like the redheaded stepchild of all other Androids, because everybody talks about how much that version sucks. And even though I think it's the best, I do not enjoy the Samsung version of Android. The one that's arguably closest to the Google experience that I want is OnePlus. All others are just kind of But Google's doing something so special with the Assistant. It's a lot like it's pulling me into their ecosystem, and I don't want to leave because I like the Assistant that much. There's things that I can do on my Pixel that I can't do on like another device that I just really enjoy. Plus the photo experience, not the video experience. That would be stupid for me to say. But yeah, that was me kind of talking about Apple a lot, but then comparing it to Google. So,
well, and I think for a lot of people like me who are massive users of tech, but have been throughout our lives fairly agnostic about which tech we used as long as it worked for us. The fanboy fights have never been anything more than entertaining because, you know, it's nerds yelling into their phones, into their computers, into their smart speakers, out into the void.
It's cost justification. They want somebody to go, yeah, you're right. You spent a lot of money on that thing. You absolutely spent your money the best. Yeah. Like those echo chambers are gonna exist. Just go to Reddit. There's a subreddit somewhere for you that will make you happy. Go live in the echo chamber out there. There's a lot of things that each of the devices do really well. Samsung by far has the most beautiful screen, and they should because they're Samsung, right? So let me just say that. OnePlus, outside of the OnePlus 8, has great prices for the hardware that you get. Google has the best photo experience. Apple has the best video experience. Apple also has the best experience when it comes to enabling the ecosystem life. So there's a lot of choices that you get in whatever you choose. I'm super excited as a consumer that I can live in the space. Like, I'm using a Mac. I have an iPhone. Okay, cool. I also live in the Pixel universe. I can ebb and flow through each of those, and it doesn't really bother me. But that's just me. Larry says, I ultimately switched from Android to iOS after my S4 got a locked bootloader, so no more full root. If I can't root my device, I would rather have iOS. Do you jailbreak your device? That would be my next question. You're a tinkerer. It wouldn't surprise me if you did. At least once. Speaking of why I love Google so much, Google all the things. I love Google, Google. I'm always Team Pixel for life. If there's anybody on Team Pixel that might be watching my live show, there's totally not. I just want you to know how much I love Team Pixel. I will gladly do the things for Team Pixel. Yes.
All the things.
It just made it weird. I just made it really weird. Google's taking a very unique stance in user data security. Coming out here soon. I want to say it's actually coming out today, and that today may have been yesterday when the story came out. First-time Google users, so somebody who first signs up for a Google account and they have location history off, all the data will be set to auto-delete after 18 months. They say that that's the time span for seasonality of yearly activities. So if you're an already existing Google user like myself, you can actually opt in to where they will delete location history, web and app activity, and YouTube history as well. And Sundar Pichai has already come out and said that Google has to do more with less. So that means they want to do more with less consumer data. Now, let me go ahead and tell you this much. It's great in theory. Like, this is a very good stance to take. But full disclosure, this is unequivocally so a PR spin on regulations about user privacy and user data privacy that's coming down no matter what. Like, that's right. They were going to be forced to do this. I love the stance that they're taking. So yes, I am going to opt into this because you actually have the chance to delete it after 3 months or 18 months, and there may be a range in between.
I think there's a 9-month option.
Okay.
As well.
So with the location history, it saves where you go with your devices, even if you aren't using a specific Google service, to give you personalized maps, recommendations on places you visited, and more. The web and app activity saves your activity on Google Sites and apps, including associated info like location to give you faster searches, better recommendation, and a more personalized experience. That includes maps, search, and other Google services. Now, your YouTube history saves the YouTube videos you watch for things that you search for on YouTube to give you better recommendations, remember where you left off, and more. I'm going to turn all that off, which is going to be really interesting to see exactly what that does for my recommendations, because obviously I've had a Google account for a really long time and I've curated it a certain way. Like I get served, I'm sure, a lot of certain things because I look up a lot of tech, right? But I'm interested to see what this is going to do from a recommendation perspective, especially on YouTube videos. Am I going to see new stuff that I've never seen before because I'm now not watching some of the same videos? Perfect example. I have been watching, and I don't know why, the guy who scuba dives in the river and finds people's cell phones.
I've seen that.
And then returns them. Fascinating. I bet you I've binge watched 10, 15 of his videos. Just one after the other, after the other, after the other. So on my recommended page, guess what pops up? All of his videos. So if I have deleted my search history from YouTube on like that rolling 18 months, is by the time that rolls off, is that going to go away? Like I would love to know how the predictive analytics work on this. But long story short, they're doing something with your data, and you have the ability to basically purge all the data, location, web activity, app activity, search, maps, YouTube history. Definitely love the idea that they're going through from a security perspective. I mean, yeah. So the new accounts will have web and activity default to the same length, while YouTube history will be set to 36 months for first-time users. Previously, all of it was kept until you deleted it. You, the user, chose to delete it. This is a direct reflection of data privacy initiatives that are in basically every single stinking state. So expect more companies to do this. I love that Google has been out there doing close to the front of the line. I don't know if they're first, but they're pretty darn close to the front of the line.
And do you think this will work in their favor or in the consumer's favor eventually, hopefully, when we get to the point where these companies will actually be compensating us for our data?
Oh, you want to go into the compensating us for our own privacy? So you're saying like so the old adage is if you don't pay for a service, you're the service. Right. That's the old adage. And I would argue that that is the truth. Our data is definitely worth something. And when I say our data, not me specifically, but a segmentation of me's, right? So there's an overweight, in their 30s, white dude living in Columbus, Ohio. Okay, like that bit of information is very key. But where it gets really interesting is when a lot of me's are around each other and they're all interconnected with some of the apps that I use. A perfect example. This is that creep factor when are you ever in a situation where you feel like either your phone is listening and then you get served an ad that you've never searched for? It's that old adage, like, hey, you and I are in a room together and you've never searched for a certain golf club or anything golf related. And everybody swears to God that they're like, I've never searched anything golf related ever. And all of a sudden it shows up as an ad in my Instagram feed, or shows up in an ad in my Twitter feed, or shows up an ad in Facebook or whatever. A lot of people don't really realize the reason why that happens is actually the location of your device. All the algorithms effectively run in together to say, oh, there's two 30-something white males that have, based on their location history, been to golf courses, and let's serve them an ad because they have a very similar situation in terms of their search habits. and I'm going to serve that ad to them. And then that's all of a sudden that starts showing up everywhere. That's actually based on your activity in each of your apps, not your voice. And
yeah, that's a really interesting way to think about it, because I'm sure if somebody took the time to pull down your phone's IP data and my phone's IP data when they were in proximity to each other, approximately 50% of the time we're at your house, and the other 50% of the time we're on golf courses.
right. I mean, and Kathleen said the golf thing was me. She's right. I mentioned golf, and something happened, and golf showed up in her feed, and it just happens to be the fact also related audiences or whatever it's called. Yeah, and I'm not smart enough to figure it out. It's a really big data science type thing, but ultimately it's based on what are you watching, what are they mentioning, what's your search habits, have you been around, what have you been watching. It's like this huge, great, big algorithmic problem or hypothesis that it has, and it serves you an ad. What I'd be really interested in is the folks that are actually watching it. On any of their socials, are you served an ad related to like golf or something like that in any of your socials? Tag me on Twitter or Instagram and let me know if something like that actually happens, because I think that'll be hilarious, personally. But in terms of paying for data or being compensated for your data, that is a bit of a conundrum that a lot of companies are trying to solve right now. Excuse me, I'm gonna take a drink. Yeah. Is how much is a consumer? How much is their data? If you give this much data, do you get paid this much? If you give this much data, do you get paid this much? Like what is that compensation? There's a data ethical issue too. If you give that information, are you giving up effectively your rights to have that data used in an ethical fashion? It depends on how much you're compensated for, right? Like, those are questions that our generations are going to have to solve to come up to say, like, what should we do with this data? And the answer, some of the times, is we don't know yet. And I think that's an okay answer, because we truly don't know. And I would rather go through the actual conversation to say, what should we do with the data? Is it okay? Is it okay to make decisions based on some of the photos that you see on somebody's Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter? You can draw a pretty healthy conclusion about somebody by seeing those pictures, right? What happens if those pictures are faked? Does your algorithm know that they're faked? I mean,
or what happens if someone locked down their data, or thought they did, with the assumption that anything from a wilder and crazy youth would no longer be accessible to people who are searching their background?
The internet
and
never
then it
forgets.
comes up.
The internet never forgets.
Yeah.
And
but I think that's one of those answers of, at some level, I still feel that, everybody needs the opportunity to be the person they want to be, act how they want to act, good, bad, or otherwise. But then if they make a choice to make a change or to limit, maybe crossover between their personal lives and their work lives, then they should have complete control of how much those two data sets interact with each other.
Well, I mean, yep, Larry's exactly right. Dun & Bradstreet started all this back in the 80s. This is really where it comes down to, is there's huge data conglomerate companies, and Dun & Bradstreet is one of them. Is they collect tremendous amounts of data about people, and they can sell it. And they can sell it to the highest bidder, and they can do a ton of different stuff. And guess what? Because of these things, you're getting more data than you know what to do. There's real-time streaming stuff. You can find out where somebody is, what they're close to, who they're close to, what are they buying, what are they searching for. That's why we get served things on Amazon all the time to say, like, oh, you search for this. Here's 750 other things that you might need based on your search history. They have really aggressive algorithms that can serve you things like, yeah, I don't need that thing. I totally don't need it. 3 days later, you're like, I totally need that thing. Like, I saw the thing and I need the thing, We've all done it on Amazon. Every single one of us has bought a thing and then saw like, why did I get served that? That's stupid. And you're like, oh man, it's like an earworm, right? It's in there. It's like, oh God, I need the thing. And then you go buy the thing. That's what happens because that's the world we live in. It is a data-driven world. And like you're saying is we have the right to data privacy, which I believe is a fundamental human right. But there is some systemic things we have to change. Yeah, there's a systemic thing that we have to change deep down in the collection of data. Yeah. That's just me. Kathleen disagrees with you, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine.
All good.
You're wrong all the time. It is what it is.
More often than not.
Yeah. Dr. Brandon Ross is in, my friend. Welcome to the show. Welcome from Twitter or Periscope or whatever app you might be in. I think you might be the first one that's commented that's not on YouTube. Welcome, my friend. So yeah, I'm excited. Also, going to switch gears, pushing the clutch. Going to talk about Google is testing broadcasting to certain rooms of the house with Hey G Broadcast. If you never use the broadcasting feature, you're missing out, especially if you have multiple Google Homes in your home. The idea is that you can very clearly say, Hey G Broadcast, and then hit the whole house with a message that says, hey, come upstairs and eat, please. That's not what that's not what the show notes say, but that's what I'm going to say. Now, I love this feature because of that. And what I would love to see is like, hey, broadcast to this person's room so I can specifically contact them in their room. I love that.
I guess I didn't realize that wasn't already an option just by using that particular device's name.
No, that's not an option. You cannot specifically key on it.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Well,
yep.
Then your work today is done because I learned something.
See, and Dean says about time too. We use broadcast all the time. I use it all the time. And the next feature that I would love to see is because I don't use the doorbell in a traditional manner. I use the broadcast where I have a Nest doorbell where you hit it and then every single Google device in the home goes off. It's like a cacophony of sound when the doorbell rings because every single one goes bananas. I would love it to like after certain hours of the day, don't play in the kids' rooms. That would, to me, would be great. Like after, 8 p.m. or whatever, only on these devices because the kids are sleeping.
Now, would you be able to set something up like that today if you used a routine or if this then that?
No, because you're specifically trying to like say only these devices. So no, you wouldn't be able to.
So I guess the only way you could do it is if you only had the Ring connected to certain homes, right?
Or not have the homes on.
Yeah. Okay.
That would be how I would do it. I would just unplug the home, but then it kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. Last but certainly not least is just a little bit of camera news, and I don't really understand why more people don't do what I'm about to say. For something that should have been happening 5 years ago, Panasonic and Sony have released cameras specific for the vloggers or the YouTubers of the world. Panasonic just came out this week. Sony's ZV-1 came out about a month ago. I've toyed around with the idea of reviewing it, but then again, I would have to pay $750 for it, and I'm not really about that life.
Not for a camera, but if you put the camera in a cell phone, you're more than happy to pay $750 for that.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, let me get to, and that kind of leads me into my point is the G1, the Panasonic G1 is the one that's very comparable to Sony's Stroke Factory. Sony's ZV-1 is both have a flippy screen, both have the ability to do some awesome vlogging on the go, great microphones, all of that, the whole 9 yards. But my question would be is, I mean, you have a 4K device in your pocket. Why wouldn't you just use this? Because then you can also do a boatload of other things. And I mean, it's great. Don't get me wrong. The the stabilization on those cameras, I'm sure, are great, but I know the stabilization's good on these or my Pixel. So again, why wouldn't you use your phone for vlogging? Well, like, I guess that's like, why is that still a thing? And I mean, you can go so far as a lot of people do this. There are companies out there. This one is a perfect example. This is from a company called Small Rig. You can literally just pop in your phone, and now I have a full cage on my phone. Literally, I can put, cold shoe mounts right here. It's like, there's a lot of stuff that you can do right here with your device. So why wouldn't you just vlog with this? That's my question, is like, why have a whole camera when your iPhone can do that? I mean, iPhone's touted the iPhone SE 2020 edition, which is $399, can film 4K 60 frames a second. And it looks good. So why? I need somebody to tell me why. Brandon said it best. I had somebody like, what's the camera you use?
The only thing I can think of is they're trying to cater to the market of people who want that status or that prestige of being seen with the latest and greatest camera to do all the things, or people who are trying to jump into this space, into the YouTube, into the vlogs, who have more money than sense and don't realize that their phones, especially the top of the line phones, can do
so much.
everything that a mid-price DSLR can do, and more, because you can stream, you can communicate,
Mm-hmm.
you can edit on your phones and your iPads now. So it's just,
I mean, Andrew Hatchett's not here, and Andrew has been a huge fan of the show. Every single time that I use my iPhone as a part of a live stream, like, I could have done it today if I wanted to, and I could probably do it on the fly if I really, really, truly wanted to do it, and I just might, now that I've said it. From a quality perspective, I could get away on a live stream of using my phone. So literally on the fly right now, I'm taking a cord. I'm going to plug my iPhone in. Hang on right now, and show you what the quality looks like from this perspective. Jesus, I'm going to look like crap. I'm going to look like total disaster here in a second. So I'll let it catch on. Okay, so this is literally me right now. This is what the camera looks like. So from the perspective of, you could live stream, like, that's my main camera rig. That thing costs significantly more than what's in my hand right now, but you can see what this looks like. So if this looks this good for live streaming, and it looks this good for basically everything else, why wouldn't you use a phone? So here it is right here. Brandon says it best. Like, if this is the thing. This is the thing I always tell people, like, especially my kids, are like, I really want to be a YouTuber, or I want to be a content creator. I want to do this, but I need a big fancy camera. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't. I've made videos on all Android devices. I've made videos on all Apple devices, iPads, Pixel books, done it all. You can do it on all of those devices without having a big fancy camera. And this is where Apple's really done it well. It is freaking seamless on the Apple ecosystem. You can AirDrop from your phone to either your MacBook or your phone to your iPad, edit using either Final Cut Pro, iMovie, Premiere Pro, or LumaFusion on your iPad, and be done. That's it. See, and there you go. Miss Sheila says that picture is great, no question. It is done on an iPhone. I don't see the need for a vlogging camera. I just don't. I think it's great, but I don't get it. Rest my case.
I'm with you.
Tech King Mike, if you're still in here, that'll be a great question. Would be do you truly need a vlogging camera? Yes or no? I'm going to take the side of no, and I rest my case and all using my facts. All the words I just said. I'm not going to repeat it. Stats. What else you got? You got anything for me?
No. I think that about covers it.
I don't believe that you are going to be on the next two shows. Is that correct?
I wasn't planning on it, but if something big happens, or if you just have to see my smiling face every Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Thursday down in Queensland, Australia, I could check in using my mobile device from the faraway land that I'm traveling to, but we'll see what happens.
And where might you be traveling to, sir?
I am traveling to the land of blues, barbecue, and family down in Memphis.
Miss Sheila, you heard it here first. Mr. Stats is venturing his way to Memphis, Tennessee. And I'm just making her aware of your arrival. I said what I said.
I'm gonna hear about it one way or the other.
Yeah, so. You are. Before I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about this. Dean, what about audio? You can use an external microphone, but the audio is so good on the iPhone. It's not as good on the Pixel, so I will ding it there. It's not really even close. The Apple device, from an audio perspective, is really, really good. Pixel has gotten better.
The internal mic?
100%. Unbelievable. I mean, mind-blowingly good for a mobile device. But you also have the ability to plug in an external mic if you needed to. Same thing on a Pixel device. The Pixel devices run a little bit hot in terms of the gain. So in post-production, you'll have to take the gain way down and then hold the microphone further away when you're on a Pixel device. My best recommendation is if you're going to use a Pixel device and an external microphone, use a shotgun mic, not a lavalier mic. Because you need the distance between you and the device because the Pixel's gain runs so high. I think they've turned it down in some initial software updates, but that's one of the things that kind of plagued it in the beginning.
Now, Dean, just one corollary to that is Scott is the second loudest human being on the planet.
Truth.
So your results might differ if you are using the internal mic or a standalone mic paired with a Pixel.
That's 100% truth. I am one of the loudest, the second loudest human being on the planet. The first would be Bert Kreischer. I think him and I take 1A and 1B. So, all right. Stats, where can they find you on the interwebs?
I am at Helix Heinlein on the Tweet Machine and at Country Smith on the Hot Mess Express Stroke Factory Instagram.
Jeez. My goodness, I feel like it needs to be... Is that a train noise?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Is this the...
Yes.
Awesome. I can't actually hear that, but that makes me feel good. And you can find me at Scott Peachy on the Tweet Machine. And for those, Brandon, I know that you're one of them. For those that have joined us on Twitter, thanks so much. I think I like this multicast thing. On Instagram, you can find me at the Scott Peachy, and I will be back, probably solo, next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, or 10 a.m. Thursday morning in Queensland, Australia. And yeah, that's all I have. Thanks for watching, folks. Have a great rest of the week. Be good or be good at it. Make sure you spay and neuter your pets. Be kind. Don't hug your neighbor because COVID. Give them a
wear a mask.
Wear a mask and Air 5 on that. So yeah, be safe, y'all. We'll see you next time.
See ya.